Tonight, at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, five-time world champions Brazil walk out to face Haiti in what is, on paper, one of the most lopsided fixtures of the entire 2026 World Cup group stage. And yet the headline writing itself across football media this week is not about Brazil's dominance. It is about Brazil's crisis. Because after a lackluster opening match against Morocco that ended in a 1-1 draw, a game in which Brazil were outplayed for large stretches and saved only by a moment of individual brilliance from Vinicius Jr., and a string of important saves from goalkeeper Alisson. The five-time champions arrive at this match under more pressure than anyone could have predicted before the tournament began. Tonight against Haiti is not just a fixture, it is a referendum on whether Brazil's World Cup campaign is in genuine trouble, or whether Friday night in Philadelphia is simply the moment Carlo Ancelotti's side reminds the world exactly why they have won this tournament more times than any other nation on earth. Let me walk you through exactly what happened in that opening match against Morocco, because understanding it is essential to understanding what is realistically going to happen tonight. For most of the 90 minutes against Morocco, Brazil looked ponderous in their build-up play. Their midfield was porous defensively. Their flanks were exposed repeatedly by quick Moroccan transitions. This was not the free-flowing, devastating Brazil of football folklore. This was a team that struggled to create rhythm, struggled to dominate possession in dangerous areas, and were fortunate that Morocco, themselves a talented, well-organized side that has been one of the form teams of African football for the better part of a decade, could not convert their own moments of superiority into more than a single goal. The lone bright spot for Brazil was Vinicius Jr., who created something out of nothing at a moment when Brazil had no foothold in the game whatsoever, taking his goal with the kind of clean, ruthless finishing that has made him one of the most feared attackers in world football. He also had moments of real quality when he linked up with Rafinha and Bruno Guimaraes, hinting at the attacking interplay that Ancelotti's side is capable of when the pieces click into place. But a draw against Morocco with Brazil looking second best for long periods is not the platform that a team with championship ambitions wants heading into match 2 of the group stage. And the pressure building around this Brazilian squad has an additional specific dimension that makes tonight's match against Haiti even more significant than the underlying talent gap between the two teams would suggest. Neymar has been ruled out, the most recognizable Brazilian footballer of his generation, the player who has carried this national team's creative burden through multiple World Cup cycles, will not be available for this match. That absence shifts an enormous amount of additional creative responsibility onto Vinicius Jr., onto Rafinha, onto Bruno Guimaraes in midfield, and onto whichever forward partners Ancelotti selects alongside Vinicius tonight. Brazil without Neymar is still an extraordinarily talented football team, but it is a different team, with different rhythms, different chemistry, and a different margin for error than the version of Brazil that many neutral observers expected to dominate this tournament coming in. Now let's talk about Haiti, because the story of Haiti's participation in this World Cup is, on its own terms, one of the most remarkable narratives of the entire tournament, completely independent of what happens on the pitch tonight. Haiti is appearing in just their second ever World Cup, with their only previous appearance coming in 1974, 52 years ago. This is a nation that has spent the better part of the last decade in a state of profound internal crisis. As we have covered in previous analysis, gangs control approximately 90% of the capital city Port-au-Prince. More than 2,300 people have been killed in gang violence in 2026 alone. Over 1.5 million Haitians, the roughly 1 in 10 of the entire population, have been displaced from their homes. The UN Secretary General himself felt compelled to travel to Haiti in person earlier this month, because the security and humanitarian situation had become too severe to manage through normal diplomatic channels. Haiti's football team has prepared for this World Cup campaign while their country has been, by any reasonable definition, in a state of near-total societal collapse. And yet Haiti came to Group C and performed with a level of competitive resilience that has already won them admirers across the football world. In their opening match against Scotland, Haiti were narrowly beaten, a single John McGinn goal proving the difference. But Haiti attacked well for most of that match. refusing to sit back and absorb pressure in the way that lower-ranked teams at major tournaments sometimes do. This is a Haiti side built around industry, running power, and a willingness to commit numbers forward even against technically superior opposition. The data backs this up directly. Statistical previews of tonight's fixture note that each side completed more than 85% of their passes in their opening matches, meaning Haiti is not simply hoofing the ball forward and hoping for transitions. They are a team trying to play structured, possession-based football, even while massively overmatched in terms of individual talent against the level of opposition Group C has presented them with. The historical head-to-head record between these two nations tells its own brutal story about what tonight is likely to produce on the scoreboard, even as it should not diminish what Haiti has already achieved simply by being here. Brazil and Haiti have met 10 times in total, including 4 previous occasions at the World Cup itself, all of them in the first round. Brazil has scored 17 goals across their 3 most recent meetings with Haiti. The most recent competitive encounter between these sides, at the 2016 Copa America Centenario, produced a 7-1 demolition, with Philippe Coutinho scoring a hat-trick and Brazil's superior class overwhelming Haiti from the opening minutes. James Marcelin's consolation goal for Haiti in that 2016 fixture is, in some ways, the realistic ceiling of what Haiti can hope to extract from tonight's match if Brazil perform anywhere close to their potential. A moment of pride, a goal to celebrate, but ultimately a heavy defeat on the scoreboard. This is the tension at the heart of tonight's preview, and it is the tension that makes "Is this really Brazil's nightmare beginning?" such a compelling but ultimately misleading framing for what is likely to unfold. Brazil's opening match performance against Morocco was genuinely underwhelming, and the pressure on Ancelotti and his players is real, magnified by Brazilian football media that has never been shy about demanding immediate excellence from a national team carrying the weight of 5 World Cup titles and the expectation of a 6th. But Haiti, for all their heart, their organization, and the extraordinary resilience they have shown, simply to arrive at this tournament competitive and prepared, despite the chaos consuming their homeland, do not possess anywhere near the individual quality that Brazil's attacking players bring to Lincoln Financial Field tonight. Vinicius Jr. alone, in the kind of form he showed against Morocco, represents a level of one-on-one attacking threat that Haiti's backline has not faced, and may not be equipped to consistently contain across 90 minutes. The tactical picture, as previewed by data analysts ahead of kickoff, suggests Brazil will likely deploy a 4-2-3-1 formation, with Haiti expected to set up in a 4-4-2, a structure that prioritizes defensive solidity and compactness in midfield, while looking to spring quick counterattacks through their forward pairing whenever Brazil's high defensive line presents opportunities. Lincoln Financial Field itself, a 69,000-seat venue in Philadelphia, is described by analysts as a venue that tends to reward teams comfortable in possession, which should, in theory, favor Brazil's technical superiority if they can find the rhythm that eluded them against Morocco. The referee for tonight's match is Spain's Alejandro Hernandez, an experienced official with 367 career games, nearly 2,000 yellow cards, and 46 red cards in his disciplinary record, suggesting a referee who allows physical contests to develop, but is not afraid to produce cards when matches threaten to become unmanageable. A relevant detail given how physically committed Haiti's underdog approach is likely to be. The betting markets, for what they are worth, paint an extremely clear picture of the expected outcome tonight. Brazil are priced at odds that would pay out a modest $100 in profit on a bet of over $1,000, reflecting overwhelming favoritism. Haiti, by contrast, carry odds that would turn a $100 bet into more than $2,000 in total returns if they were to pull off a victory. That gulf in the betting markets is not a reflection of media narrative or storyline. It is a cold quantitative assessment by professional odds makers of the gap in quality between these two squads. Regardless of how Brazil's opening match against Morocco looked on the eye test, what should genuinely concerned Brazilian supporters be watching for tonight if Friday's match is going to tell us anything real about whether the shocking collapse narrative has any substance? The first thing to watch is Brazil's midfield shape in the opening 15 minutes. If Bruno Guimaraes and his midfield partners are dictating tempo, controlling possession, and finding Vinicius Jr. and Rafinha in dangerous positions early. That tells you the Morocco performance was an aberration related to a tough, well-organized opponent rather than a sign of deeper structural problems. If Brazil again looked disjointed in build-up, even against a Haiti side with a fraction of Morocco's talent level, that would be a genuinely alarming signal about Ancelotti's tactical setup and the team's overall cohesion heading into the remainder of the group stage. The second thing to watch is how Brazil's defense handles Haiti's counterattacking outlets. Brazil's backline struggled with weak flanks against Morocco's quick transitions. Haiti, built around running power and direct attacking transitions of their own, will likely look to exploit exactly the same spaces if they sense any hesitation or disorganization in Brazil's defensive structure. A Brazil that concedes clean counterattacking chances to Haiti, even if Brazil ultimately wins comfortably on the scoreboard, would be a Brazil that has not actually fixed the defensive issues exposed in Match 1. The third and most consequential thing to watch is goals. Not just whether Brazil scores, but how many, how convincingly, and through what combination of players. A 4 or 5 goal Brazilian victory, with goals coming from multiple different players in a fluid, multi-phase attacking performance, would be the clearest possible signal that the Morocco result was simply one difficult night against a quality opponent, and that the underlying quality of this Brazilian squad remains exactly what everyone expected heading into the tournament. A narrow 1 or 2 goal win, particularly if it comes via individual moments of brilliance from Vinicius Jr. in isolation rather than fluid team play, would suggest that whatever issues emerged against Morocco have not been resolved, and that Brazil remains vulnerable heading into their decisive final group match against Scotland. A Scotland side that has already shown by beating Haiti that they are capable of taking points off lower-ranked opposition through disciplined, well-organized football of exactly the kind that troubled Brazil in their own opener. The prediction, based on the totality of evidence available, the historical head-to-head dominance, the talent gap between the two squads, the betting market consensus, and Brazil's need to respond decisively to criticism after the Morocco draw, points toward a comfortable Brazilian victory tonight, likely in the range of 3 to 5 goals to nil or 3 to 5 goals to 1, with Vinicius Jr., Rafinha, and one of Brazil's central attacking options each likely to find the scoresheet across the 90 minutes. Haiti's best realistic outcome is a repeat of their 2016 Copa America experience, competing well for large portions of the match, perhaps even creating 1 or 2 genuine chances through their committed pressing and direct running, but ultimately being unable to match the technical and physical quality of a Brazilian squad that, Neymar's absence notwithstanding, retains an extraordinary depth of individual attacking talent. But the most important prediction is not really about the scoreline at all. It is about what tonight's match tells us regarding the trajectory of Brazil's tournament. If Ancelotti's side responds to the pressure of the Morocco draw with a performance that restores confidence, sharp in possession, ruthless in front of goal, defensively organized, then tonight becomes the night the shocking collapse narrative is decisively buried, and Brazil heads into their final group match against Scotland with the platform to advance comfortably and build momentum into the knockout rounds. If Brazil again look uncomfortable, disjointed, or fortunate to win by smaller margins than the talent gap would suggest, then tonight's nominal victory will not be enough to quiet the very real questions that emerged after 89 underwhelming minutes against Morocco. Questions about whether this Brazilian squad, missing its most iconic player and searching for new attacking identities and partnerships on the fly during the tournament itself, is genuinely equipped to deliver the 6th World Cup title that an entire nation expects as a matter of historical birthright rather than aspiration. Haiti, regardless of tonight's final score, has already achieved something remarkable simply by representing their nation competitively on the world's biggest sporting stage, while their homeland endures one of the most severe humanitarian and security crises anywhere on the planet. Win, lose, or draw, and a draw remains despite everything a mathematical possibility, however unlikely the betting markets judge it to be. Haiti's players will return to Tijuana-style logistics of their own, to a country where football is for 90 minutes tonight in Philadelphia, the one thing that unites a fractured nation in something other than fear. Brazil's story tonight is about pressure, about history, about the weight of 5 stars on a yellow jersey. Haiti's story tonight is about something else entirely. The simple, stubborn fact of showing up fully, completely, and competitively against impossible odds both on the pitch and off it. Both stories deserve to be told. Only one of them, in all likelihood, ends in celebration on the scoreboard tonight. There is one more dimension to tonight's fixture that deserves attention before kickoff, and it concerns the broader competitive landscape of Group C heading into the decisive final round of matches. Morocco, who held Brazil to that 1-1 draw in the opener, face Scotland tonight in Boston in the other Group C fixture being played simultaneously with Brazil versus Haiti. The result of that match will shape exactly how much pressure Brazil is under heading into their own final group game. If Morocco beats Scotland tonight, Morocco moves to 4 points from 2 matches, putting them in a commanding position to top the group regardless of what Brazil does against Haiti, and setting up a final round Brazil-Morocco style permutation where Brazil may need a result against Scotland just to guarantee qualification depending on goal difference. If Scotland beats Morocco, the picture shifts again, potentially opening a path where Brazil's performance tonight against Haiti, specifically the margin of victory and goal difference generated, becomes even more critical heading into the final round of group matches. This is the broader context that elevates tonight's fixture beyond a simple measuring stick exercise against limited opposition. Brazil are not just trying to beat Haiti, they are trying to build the kind of goal difference cushion that protects them regardless of how the Morocco-Scotland match unfolds, and they are trying to demonstrate to their own anxious fan base and to every football analyst questioning their title credentials after one underwhelming match, that the issues exposed against Morocco were a single bad night rather than a fundamental flaw in Ancelotti's tactical approach or in the squad's underlying chemistry without Neymar available. For context on just how significant Group C's competitive balance has become, consider that Mexico became the first team in the entire tournament to secure their place in the knockout stage by beating South Korea, doing so with the kind of ruthless efficiency that Brazil will want to replicate tonight if they hope to silence the doubters. The standard that the best teams in this expanded 48-nation World Cup are setting early in the group stage is one of decisive, statement-making victories against lower-ranked opposition. Exactly the template Brazil needs to follow against Haiti if tonight is going to mark the turning point in their campaign, rather than another uneasy, scrappy 90 minutes that extends the uncertainty hanging over this Brazilian squad, heading into the business end of the group stage. Whatever happens on the scoreboard at Lincoln Financial Field tonight, the story of this match will be told and retold through 2 completely different lenses by the time the final whistle blows. For Brazilian media and Brazilian supporters, tonight is entirely about answers. Does this team have what it takes? Is Ancelotti's setup sound? Can this squad win without its biggest individual star fully available? And does the path to a 6th World Cup title remain realistic? For Haiti and for the millions watching from a nation in crisis, tonight is about something that exists entirely outside the result itself. The simple, profound fact that despite everything happening at home, despite gangs controlling 90% of their capital, despite over 1.5 million of their countrymen displaced from their own houses, 11 men in Haitian colors walked onto one of the world's biggest stages tonight and competed. Brazil's nightmare, if it exists at all, is a nightmare about expectations and history and pressure. Haiti's triumph, regardless of tonight's final score, is a nightmare about survival turned, for 90 minutes, into something resembling hope. One final number worth sitting with before kickoff: Brazil have now gone 2 consecutive World Cup group stage openers without the kind of dominant statement victory their history demands, and tonight is the chance to reset that narrative in front of a sold-out, noise-filled Lincoln Financial Field. The expectation in Brazil is not measured in points. It is measured in margin, in style, in the unmistakable sense that the team wearing yellow is operating on a different plane from whoever stands across from them. That is the standard tonight's match will be judged against, fair or not. And it is the standard that has followed every Brazilian World Cup squad since 1958. Kickoff is minutes away. The pressure is real, and in 90 minutes we will know considerably more about which version of this Brazilian team is going to show up for the rest of this tournament.